Good evening. It is Wednesday, April the 21st, at about 8:20 p.m. This is meteorologist Shay Gibson with leading edge weather, bringing you the forecast for the CORA Quicksilver Race to Port Royal Sound 2021. I'll go ahead and minimize myself here to the side, down here to the corner, and show you the website. So this is the CORA website. If you ever want to go to the wind and weather briefings, I did one the other night on Monday night for the offshore wind and weather. This is the preliminary briefing that I put for this particular race. Now, going 5 days out, things can change. Here we are about 3.5, considered 4 days today, but 3.5 at this point. Um, we're looking at some mild changes with the forecast that have occurred, and also we're looking at Saturday for the potential for some stormy weather. So we're crossing our fingers that'll be later in the day, and I'll get into that in just a minute. Let's go ahead and take a look at the local weather. We've had a pretty strong westerly flow today as a cold front swept through, and really this west wind charged downhill throughout the day, and so we really just been kind of stuck with that pattern. As time goes on, high pressure will traverse our area. I mean, we get a cool down for a day or so, then we get the Atlantic high pressure to build back in by Friday. So it looks like Friday afternoon, we start to see some agreement with southerly winds. So we'll say south, maybe even south-southwesterly sea breezes Friday afternoon, as the preliminary forecast shows. Lots of agreement in the afternoon for that wind to come up. It looks like right along the beaches is where we'll see about 9 to 13 knots. And then I think right inside the harbor will probably be a little bit gusty, probably in the 12 to 16 knot ranges with higher gusts for that, just for the start, until you at least get offshore. Things sort of normalize a little bit, where you start to see more of the 10 to 14 knot ranges when you get through the jetties and make your turn at G15, and then start your rum line or your line down the coast. You may have a close hauled sort of tack that you have to do because the winds will be still mainly from the south, or maybe even edging towards south, south, southeast. So that's going to be a little bit tricky overnight Friday night, I believe. Is what are those winds going to do Friday night? Now, we're going to get into that nocturnal jetting from the southwest. I don't think so. We do have a cold front in the distance, but we have a warm front that's going to be lifting from the north, and I'll show you this right now. What's sort of going on here is we have high pressure that's going to be uh, filtering in over the area with some cool northerlies overnight tonight and into tomorrow. And then as time goes on, this high erodes over land, but it basically wobbles out to sea and expands. We get a return southerly flow for Friday afternoon. So that's what this lobe of high pressure, I believe, is going to give us that southerly lobe. I don't think we'll have too much suppression from the high up here in the Piedmont, North Carolina. Really, this Atlantic high dominates with coastal ridging. Just a matter of to what degree and what strength of sea breeze we get for the start at 6 p.m. I think we'll have pretty pleasant weather, partly cloudy, air temperatures in the 70s, and then sea surface temperatures will probably drop a couple of degrees in the next couple of days into the mid 60s, but I believe we'll have a pretty good start from the south. As time goes on, I do want to caution that the Weather Service, as of now, here's what goes on. So we're still outside of 3 days, and so what happens is the Storm Prediction Center, they now do 4 to 8 days severe weather, but it's very sort of experimental. Like they don't really like to put a lot of detail into these 4 day beyond outlooks. So they've started doing a little bit. As you see, if we go into day 5, it says predictability too low. Day 6, potential too low. So it's sort of hard for them to tell. But right now they have us in the slight category, barely, on Saturday. And so once we get into the 3 day window, when we start to see in the 3 day outlook, that will be issued tomorrow, and then we will actually get into this 3 day outlook. Then the Weather Service office locally will start talking about it more, and they'll put products out there for us to be looking at, and that's what I'm sort of counting on tomorrow. So I'll be contacting the Weather Service directly and making phone calls to find out what they think the timing is going to be for Saturday for any potential for severe weather. I do think there may be a couple of showers in the morning that are possible, maybe right around sunrise or just after, a couple of isolated showers, and then we get a little bit more throughout the day, and building into late afternoon, I think, is when the slug of moisture is really going to pump up. Probably have our highest potentials for severe weather late afternoon. That helps with your timing. In fact, the Weather Service does say Saturday here in their latest area forecast discussion that they think it will be more or less in the afternoon. And they say build later in the afternoon, especially in Georgia where temperatures would be warmest. So looking at the NAM 12, I'll take a quick look at precip models. Now this is still a medium resolution model. We're not really sure. I mean, you get a little blob of rain that pops up, maybe some isolated showers come through. We're talking Friday night, late night, and into early Saturday morning, a couple of isolated showers. Our warm front is going to be just along here. It's going to be lifting slowly up towards our area. And this is where the moisture is going to be building along this front as it sits draped in this fashion. So this front will be lifting up. And what happens is we have an area of low pressure here. We have another area of low pressure to that north. This is going to be heading towards the mid-Atlantic and swinging a cold front down below it. There'll be another one behind it from another low to its north. So it'll be kind of a 1-2 punch. The timing of that first front is the big question. So what time on Saturday is this going to approach while the warm front lifts to the north up into it? That's the big question. So more to come tomorrow on that. But I think with the winds given, if we're looking at some pretty decent winds as we get into Friday night, even into Saturday morning, we see those winds coming up. Now, one thing I want to caution on is the swell heights will be building and the period will be falling. So we start out with about 1 to 2 feet at 10 seconds as you round G15 and start your mark south. As time goes on and the winds start to come up and we get into the early morning, Saturday morning, and as we get towards sunrise, you see the period dropping to about 5 or 6 seconds and the waves coming up to 2 to 3 feet, right? And so by about midday on Saturday, you're looking at 3 feet and then pushing 4 feet as we get late into the afternoon. So as the day goes on, the surf just gets rougher and rougher as time goes on. So you really want to make the best timing you can by heading out at G15, heading down to R4 as quick as possible, making your tacks. So like I said, you may start with close hauled, and I think in time with that wind switching from the southeast, see if I can get a little bit more on the map here, get rid of that. We get Port Royal Sound, which is just down here. I believe if you're making good timing and that wind is coming from the southeast, you're making pretty much some reaching tactics here, some beam reach down the coast. And as you get in, well, actually you have to swing pretty wide out and then cut in at R4. So that's sort of going to be the tactic there. But I believe for the most part, most folks should be okay as long as you get in sometime before noon or 2 o'clock on Saturday. That's sort of the goal. And it's hard to really kind of go into detail about the exact timing of this stuff on Saturday. So, like I said, I'll be calling the weather service tomorrow to discuss. As far as currents though, Friday when you're leaving, we have a slack tide right at about 6:24 p.m. and that's in the Charleston Cooper River entrance. So the CYC start line, of course, is just inside of that. You'll be heading out. Eventually, that current will pick up through the jetties. You'll be getting into about, I'd say about 1.5. I'm sorry, not 1.5, but about 2.4 knots in time. May not hit that mark all the way, but somewhere around 2 to 2.4 marks on the outside of the jetties and heading down to the south. Now, by the time you get back to Hilton Head, Saturday morning, we have an ebb tide at minus 2.2 knots at about 10:07 a.m. Now we're about normal tide, so that's going to be about right just for it. Now later on with the ebb, we get 2.5 because the speeds pick up. The tide fluxing with that onshore flow pushes the water in. So hopefully everybody be done by that time, but you're going to have an ebb tide at minus 2.2 at 10:07 a.m. and then it goes slack 128 and then flood tide at 2 knots at 4:25 p.m. for the opposing tide heading in to Port Royal Sound. With that said, I think I'll end the forecast at this point. Some air temperatures real quick. We're looking at, for Saturday, we're looking at 71, 57 for a low for Saturday morning. So, I mean, this is for Charleston Airport, but it pretty much is indicative of the whole, basically the South Carolina coastline. So sea surface temperatures being in the mid 60s. You may have some pretty chilly weather. Bring yourself a jacket, some long clothes along the way for the night. But we get back up into the 70s on Saturday. 71 for the start, 76 for a high on Saturday with upper 50s for lows. And I think that's going to do it for this forecast. More to come tomorrow. I'll be calling the weather service, and I'll see you at the Skipper's meeting for those who decide to join. I'll see you then. Thank you.